Hello, my people. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. So, guys, if you're new to this channel, do well to hit that subscribe button. Also, like and share this video as well. So, guys, we have an interesting topic to talk about, about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So, guys, tell me, who's gonna sacrifice for Igbo people just like the way Kanu did? Guys, Kanu has made a lot of sacrifice. You know, remember the time military men invaded, the military men invasion of his home, and then they died about 27 persons. I mean, Kanu's family members. Guys, Kanu has sacrificed a lot for Biafra movement. Yeah. Should we talk about his detention for going to 5 years now? Should we talk about how his family or how he left his family? See, the only crime of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is that he spoke up. Kanu is not the only one agitating. Yes, some people who agitated, other people also Asari Dokubo also agitated. But because of Kanu, continue like Kanu, you cannot silence him because you cannot silence him. He has continuously, even without fear, speaking up. That was why they tagged him a terrorist. They didn't tag Sondiboho a terrorist. They didn't tag Asari Dokubo a terrorist just because of Kanu said he's not going to be silenced by anybody. That was why they had to look for something as strong as terrorism to tag him, or as strong as terrorists to tag him, so that it's going to paint his name bad, so that they'll use that way and detain him. That was the only crime of Kanu, because he spoke up. If Kanu did not speak up, or if in 2017, when they released him, when they granted him bail, he stopped agitating or he stopped speaking up, guys, Kanu will not be in detention till date. Now, in 2015, Goodluck Jonathan knows that self-determination is not a crime. That's why they did not arrest him. But in 2020, was it 17, when Buhari came, or 2015, yeah, from 2012, the current administration knew that self-determination was not a crime. That was during the time of Goodluck. Then in 2015, when Buhari came in, that was when they arrested him because he was speaking up. See, there are many atrocities Kanu exposed. That is why they went after him. So, guys, today, Diaspora, you can see it on your screen. The headline on your screen says that Diaspora Igbo group urges US to sanction Nigeria over Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's detention and trial. Yes, everyone knows that his detention is illegal, and then his trial as well is also illegal. So Ndi Igbo is saying that Nigeria must be sanctioned. It's telling US to sanction Nigeria. And then we're also asking questions why US have not yet sanctioned Nigeria for their roles in kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And that, and for that, and also for allowing his trial to continue even at this point, despite the way he came into, or the way they brought him from Kenya to Nigeria was illegal. We are wondering why US have not yet sanctioned Nigeria. So today, Indibo is saying sanction Nigeria, is urging US to sanction Nigeria. So the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, a diaspora Igbo group known as Concerned Citizens of Igbo Nation in diaspora, that's CCIND, has officially called on the United States government to impose sanction on Nigeria. Now, because according to them, Nigeria has openly defied international law, flouted multiple court rulings, and continues to hold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu Oyendu in unlawful detention. Now, this episode goes beyond Kanu's personal ordeal. It touches the very heart of Nigerians' global image, its the democratic credibility, and its relationship with the world power. Guys, stay tuned. I have a lot to tell you guys, and I also have a lot to show you guys. So stay tuned to get the full gist. So today, Indigo is saying that they must sanction Nigeria for their roles in kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And then they cited that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was adopted in Kenya in June 2021 under controversial circumstances, which international lawyers and human rights organizations has rightly described as extraordinary retention. For 8 days, guys, he was tortured. Now, for 8 days, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was tortured and illegally held. before being transferred to Nigeria and handed over the Department of State Service. Now, according to his lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, he came out and exposed how they bundled Kanu, when he went for errand in Kenya. Let me now tell you this little story. I'm going to still play the video for you guys in case you've not seen that video where Kanu's lawyer came out to explain how everything happened in Kenya, how they bundled him to the plane, and he explained a lot. I'm going to still play that video. But before then, the lawyer said that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, after the military invasion of his home in 2017, where military men came to his house and by 27 members of his family, after he was granted bail, they came to his hometown in Abia State, and by 27 members, Kanu narrowly escaped and then went to Kenya to look for where to settle, and finally he settled in Kenya. And then when he wanted to run errands in Kenya, he drove to the airport. Guys, on getting to the airport, he wanted to alight from his vehicle. Immediately, military security operative suspected to be Nigerian security operative, and then some Kenyan officials swooped into him, and then guys, they bundled him and took him to an unknown, put him in a car, took him to an unknown location in Nairobi, Kenya. Guys, they kept him in a particular place in a room for 8 days where they tortured him. Guys, will you even do that kind of thing to a terrorist? Even if it's in Nigeria, even outside country, even in Nigeria, they don't treat terrorists like this. Why would they treat Mazi Nnamdi Kanu like this as a terrorist? Okay, you came to Kenya, you bundled him like a terrorist. No court ruling, nothing. You went after him and you tortured him, took him to an unknown location in Nairobi, Kenya. You tortured him and illegally held him. After 8 days he spent in that room in Nairobi, guys, they brought him out and then took him to the airport. He went back to the airport in Kenya. Already in that place, a private jet was already waiting for them. They bundled Kanu inside the private jet, chained him on the chair of the private jet, where he was uncomfortable for 5 hours before they reached Nigeria at the middle of the night, and then they handed him over to the DSS. Since then, he has remained in solitary confinement. Kanu has remained in solitary confinement. In October as well, 2022, the Nigerian Court of Appeal discharged and acquitted him, ruling that his trial was unlawful and that his detention violated due process. But the Nigerian government ignored that judgment. Even more recently, guys, in June 2025, a Kenyan High Court ruled that Kanu's adoption and transfer was illegal, awarding him 10 million Kenya shillings as compensation. Yes, Nigeria still refuses to release him. Now, today, the Igbo is saying, according to the spokesperson, Emeka Livingstone, among the Igbo, said that he's saying enough is enough. They argue that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal, he's not a terrorist, but a prisoner of conscience, someone whose only crime is advocating for the self-determination of his people. Guys, in case of not seeing this video where Kanu's lawyer said, I will continue to share this video so that everyone will see it, to show you that Kanu is not a terrorist, that Nigerian government clearly, blatantly violated international law. Guys, take a look at this video and I'll be right back.
So today I'm wearing two hats. I'm speaking on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm also speaking on my own behalf. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I'm the special counsel to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra. And I'm speaking to you from a location in Nigeria. The man, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is well known. He's everywhere. He's on Wikipedia. He's an internationally acclaimed freedom fighter. But there's just a few things I need to tell you about him. What brought him to limelight was the formation of the indigenous people of Biafra in the United Kingdom in 2012. Simultaneously, he also founded Radio Biafra. And these two organizations were aimed at one thing: liberation for the people of Biafra, or restoration of the former Republic of Biafra that went defunct in 1970. The right to self-determination is a right that is guaranteed internationally, domestically, and continentally. It's within the black letters of Nigerian law at Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. So the formation of IPOB did not break any law. Not laws of United Kingdom, not international law, not Nigerian law. But guess what? When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was born in Nigeria, but who acquired British citizenship later on, came to Nigeria in October 2015, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, which had come to power in May, decided to arrest him. He was not arrested between 2012 and 2015 because the government of the day at that time understood that self-determination is not a crime. But the government that came into power in 2015 in May decided that self-determination is going to be treated as a criminal activity. So he was arrested in Lagos. He was charged for treason, also for insulting the president and illegal importation of ready equipment. 3 charges. The treason one, they split it into 2, treason by himself and treason by conspiracy. This thing went on from 2015 until April 2017, when he was eventually granted bail. So he was detained for nearly 18 months. After granting him bail, he returned to his ancestral home in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and he was enjoying his bail when suddenly, between 10 September and 14 September 2017, the Nigerian army, without any justification whatsoever, levied lethal, massive military operations against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home. That day, he was sitting at home with so many people, his family members, including his 2 elderly parents. The attack was lightning, it was a bleak range, it was massive, and it was not the type of an attack you will expect a national military force to levy on a civilian location. But they did. At the end of the day, 28 people lost their lives. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sustained injuries. His parents sustained injuries as well, but somehow, by the grace of God, they all managed to escape. From there, the rest is history. And because there was a national and international manhunt for him by the security forces, which rules of engagement was to shoot, not to maim. If you see Nnamdi Kanu, if you encounter him anywhere, shoot not to maim. Not to maim, but shoot to kill. That's what they went there to do on 10 September, but they didn't succeed. But it went on. They went on in a manhunt. So Nnamdi Kanu was forced to flee the municipal boundaries of Nigeria in search of safe haven overseas. Eventually, in May 2021, he settled in Kenya. He entered Nairobi and settled in Kenya somewhere. He never knew that Nigerian security forces, the international branch of it, were laying in wait for him. They led an ambush for him. So on 19th June 2021, he drove himself to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a personal errand. As soon as he drove into the parking lot and alighted from his vehicle, several well-armed security men suspected to be of a mixture of Nigerian and Kenyan security forces swooped on him, grabbed him, abducted him, and put him forcibly in a vehicle and drove away. Well, they didn't take him to the police station. They didn't take him to immigration because he was a foreigner. He should have been taken to immigration. They didn't take him to any official law enforcement facility. They took him to a secret location in Nairobi, a non-official secret location. So in effect, they disappeared him. And they kept him at that secret location for a whole 8 days. And those 8 days he endured horrendous torture. All these are matters of record between the various tribunals and courts before whom this matter has been brought. I cannot begin to give you all the details. Horrendous torture in violation of basic human rights, in violation of the laws of Kenya, Nigeria, and the international community. When Nnamdi Kanu was abducted on 19th June 2021, the proper thing that should have been done is to take him to a police station, from there to a court. And then if you wanted him back in Nigeria, you subject him to what is called extradition proceedings. This is a basic tenet of the law that you see in the laws of any nation. Kenya has an extradition act to which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should have been subjected. But guess what? They didn't do that. They rather disappeared him for 8 days, tortured him to their heart's content. And on 27th June, they secretly brought him out from this location and took him through the back doors, evading Kenyan immigration, direct to the tarmac of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi, where a private plane was waiting. They bundled him into the plane, chained him to the chair, and everything. He endured 5-6 hours flight from Nairobi to Kenya in the most excruciating circumstances. They arrived in Nigeria late in the evening, and the plane flew back to Nairobi. They took him to the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency in Abuja, where he spent the first night with all the lights left on to assure his maximum discomfort. The following day, they transferred him to the headquarters of Directorate of State Security in Abuja. And on the third day, they brought him before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Federal High Court was well aware that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has counsel of record. It was an open case, it wasn't a new case, a pre-existing case. But the Federal High Court decided to conduct the arraignment in violation of his constitutional right to counsel, and that arraignment led to the indefinite detention with which we are struggling today. Anyways, taking you back a few steps, the little military invasion of 2017 was not unrequited, judicially speaking. I took the matter before 2 tribunals, or a tribunal and a court. First, I took it to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which rendered a decision in March 2018 condemning the action and calling it a violation of the African Charter. And they wrote a president to the President of Nigeria. They wrote a letter to the President of Nigeria requesting him or directing him. They used diplomatic language, but the decision was there that what you did is wrong. So you need to roll it back. You need to reverse everything you have done, which includes declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and hounding their members as criminals. The African Commission held that what Nigerian government was doing was persecution, not prosecution. That the IPOB and its members simply possess an inconvenient political opinion which the Nigerian government was seeking to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. And they asked or directed Nigerian government to reverse itself. Nigerian government never did. Rather, it escalated. Well, subsequently, I went to a local court, a high court in Abia State in eastern Nigeria. I sued the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Army, and other parties who were Confederates in that attack of September 2017. And in January 2022, fortunately for us, we won. The High Court made an order. The High Court reached a judgment that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in September 2017 was a flagrant violation of his constitutional right to life and constitutional right to his privacy. And the court proceeded to make an order ordering the federal government of Nigeria or Federal Republic of Nigeria to pay him a compensation of 1 billion Nigerian naira, which is over $1 million US. The court also ordered the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President of Nigeria to issue a public apology to be published in 3 national Nigerian newspapers to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. None of this has happened. So we kept that aside. So when they brought Mazi Nnamdi Kanu forcibly from Kenya without extradition proceedings, I characterized it an act of extraordinary rendition. Initially, there was a misunderstanding, a broad, widespread misunderstanding by vast majorities of Nigerians who were mouthing the cliche, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu extradited from Kenya. No, that was wrong. It wasn't. I told people it wasn't. It was extraordinarily renditioned or rendered, and that is against international law, Kenyan law, and laws of the Federation of Nigeria. So while his criminal trial was making its way slowly at Abuja, with all the several amendments the government was bringing, they walked away from treasonable felony, insulting the president, importation of radio equipment, and bam, to terrorism. That's how it happened. And they did this 7 times. 7 amendments. If Nnamdi Kanu was guilty, why is it taking so long to bring him to trial between 2015 and today? That is 8 years. So what he's undergoing is not really a judicial trial. It's a trial by ordeal. Trial by fire. Imprisonment before conviction. They just want to get as many years of jail time out of him as possible, because they know that with the evidence available, conviction will be impossible. And that was made worse by the extraordinary rendition, which I took also as a civil violation to a federal high court in Nigeria. And in October 2022, the Federal High Court came down with a judgment that extraordinary rendition was a violation of his constitutional rights, his fundamental rights, and they awarded him 500 million Nigerian naira. That's about $800,000. So all around, everywhere that this matter has gone to, including in July 2022, before the Human Rights Council at the United Nations. The Human Rights Council, United Nations, came down with an opinion that what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and that brought him to Nigeria is a very grave violation of international law. And they directed that he should be released unconditionally. And of course, the Court of Appeal in Nigeria did come down with a similar judgment in same October 2022, discharging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of all charges and bearing any further trial of his person in any court in Nigeria as a consequence, as a direct consequence of the extraordinary rendition. So what more can you ask for a man to deserve his freedom? How many have I counted? United Nations, which in this case should be considered a world court. Then you have the Nigerian Court of Appeal, which is the second highest court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then you have the Federal High Court, which is the court of first instance at the federal level. And of course, you have the State High Court that awarded him 1 billion Nigerian naira. So between 2015 and today, 8 years and running, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has snagged 4 major victories against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Federal Republic of Nigeria winning nothing. What more do you need as stark evidence, affirmative evidence that what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is an act of persecution, not prosecution? It's time to end it. On his behalf, I will ask all men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world to speak up. There was this saying about Jews. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing because you're a trade unionist. Then when they came for the trade unionist, you said, well, I'm a scientist. You said nothing. They took the Jew, they took the trade unionist, and then when they came for the scientists, nobody spoke for you. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a poster boy for all the injustices that a great race, the Igbo people, and their cousins in the former eastern Nigeria have been subjected to since the founding of Nigeria. These injustices became more public because since 2015 they have been escalated. So how do you fight back? You fight back by telling the system, I want out. I want my own country is not a crime. It does not require a bullet. It doesn't require muscular military law enforcement. What it requires is sitting across the table and talking about it. A lot of nations have been founded on referendum. That's what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the Diaspora of Biafra were asking for. That led to all this conundrum, to all this saga.
So guys, you've listened to what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer said, Aloy Ejimako. He actually explained everything that happened in Kenya, how they bundled him, how they adopted him, saying that it's a blatant violation of international law, even Nigeria's own law and Kenya's own law. Now, let me take some comments. Anything you want to say, just drop your comments under the comment section. So this person said, Nigeria is not a country but a trade post. Absolutely very right. You guys remember that, this comment is actually pointing to the fact that Britain created Nigeria in 1914 by amalgamating North and South purely for economic convenience. So it is not because of the shared identity. You guys see that Nigeria was created by Britain as an economic experience, not as a nation built on unity. That's why the contradictions we see today keep getting worse, guys. You can see this person is absolutely right, because Nigeria was a business deal, not a nation, and the citizens are still paying the price up to today. That is just the truth. So anything you want to say, drop it in the comment section. Let's talk about it. So now let's move to what other people are saying. This person said, what do you expect from a lawless country? A country that violates their own constitution, a country that breaks their own law, even go ahead in breaking other people's law, even the treaties that Nigerian government are signatory to, they still broke it. What do you expect from a lawless country? Exactly. A country that ignores its own court and international rulings cannot claim to be democratic. Lawlessness has become state policy. This person is right. When a government disobeys its own judiciary and international law, it set a dangerous precedent. That's why Nigeria is facing growing international pressure and sanction calls. You see, Igbo is saying that they should, sanction Nigeria for what they did, because they went and adopted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If he was a terrorist, why don't you do something? Do things. Do the needful. Take due process. Why must you go through the back doors to arrest him? That's it. So now, Igbo today, you can see it on your screen. They are saying that Nigeria they're calling US to sanction Nigeria. That they have, in fact, clearly disobeyed international law, violated so many laws, both international law and different law, guys. I have a lot to show you guys, so stay tuned and stay to the end of this live section so that you get the full gist, guys. So now, The continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is no longer just a Nigerian story. It has become an international scandal, with diaspora group like CCIND, pushing harder, with global courts issuing rulings against Nigeria, and with world powers under pressure to act. The question is not if Nigeria will release Kanu, but when and under under what circumstances. That is what we are asking now. That is just it. So now let's know that the Nigerian government is openly disobeying its own court of appeal ruling. The 2022, the ECOWAS court ruling on Kanu's case that happened in 2022, clearly disobeying it. And then this set a dangerous precedent if the government itself refuse to obey court rulings. What moral ground does it have to demand obedience from its citizen? You can see there is no moral ground again. It weakens democracy because the rule of law collapses once selective obedience become normalized. They see, like, they feel, I don't know why US is even quiet safe. I don't know why US is quiet. You see that they're not saying that what Nigerian government see. I only said this. So people are saying why US is quiet is because they are benefiting from Nigeria and they don't want to provoke a country where they benefit. Is it true, guys? Let me know what you're saying about this in the comment section. So now Nigeria proscribed IPOB in 2017, branding it a terrorist group. Yet group like Fulani Herdsmen and armed bandits, who globally recognized as among the deadliest terrorist groups, have not been proscribed. CCIND, that's in the Igbo, argues this is political terrorism in disguise, targeting dissenters while shielding state-backed armed group. This is what Igbo is telling US. Nigeria is a major oil producer and strategic partner for the US in West Africa. This explains Washington's hesitation to sanction Abuja. But Igbo warns that ignoring Nigerians' lawlessness could backfire, as instability in Nigeria, over 200 million plus people, would spill into Africa, Europe, and America in the form of terrorism, illegal migration, and insecurity. This is what Igbo is telling US as well. And then they also, the demands for sanction mirrors the international campaign against the South Africa, just as sanction and boycotts forced to release Nelson Mandela. They are also saying that Igbo believes that global pressure can force Abuja to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's actually true, but will US actually do this? Will US do this, or will they bend to pressure? And keep silent. So now the Canadian courts, you guys know that Canadian federal court judgment against APC and PDP is unprecedented. It implies that anyone affiliated with these parties could be treated internationally as sponsors of terrorism. This potential exposes Nigerian politicians to arrest warrants under international law if foreign governments choose to act. Now, sanction will not just hurt Nigeria's politicians; it will also affect foreign investments, oil contracts, and financial transactions. Now, let me tell you that for so many years now, Kanu has been in detention, right? And you cannot tell me that the US doesn't know about this, and Britain knows about this. Also, US, they know about this. But why are they silent? In taking action. I don't understand how. See, it is actually very clear that Kanu was adopted. Kenya High Court currently said that this man was adopted and they are holding him illegal. Why is it that Britain and what's it called, the US, why is it they are silent? They're not acting to sanction, Nigeria for what they did. Why are they silent? Let me know what you think about this under the comment section and let's talk about it. So you see, they are silent. Even after calls, this is not the first call for sanction. Many people have called, even IPOB self, they have called for sanction, but then nothing has been done. Despite knowing how they kidnapped this man, knowing the fact that they kidnapped this man, they still kept him in detention. That is just it. Nigeria markets itself as the giant of Africa and a democracy, but Kanu's case paints a different picture of a country where opposition voices are criminalized and where ethnic minorities are suppressed. That is justice. This image crisis could hurt Nigeria in trade negotiation, international loans, and diplomatic circles. Tinubu still borrows despite everything. He still borrows. US and the other time Tinubu went to Japan, also went to what's it called again? Currently is in Brazil. You can see that these international voices are even silent. They are calm. They don't want to even take action. Is this how Kanu will remain in prison? Is this how Kanu will remain in detention? I think the lawyers need to act so fast. Like they need to do something extraordinary. Like they need to do something that can, because this case is just going back and forth. There's no improvement. Imagine Kanu said that that MBA, that there was this MBA conference in Enugu State. So Kanu petitioned the ABA to talk about his case in the conference. Guys, do you know that they didn't even talk about anything concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Even Kanu petitioned the NBA to sanction 3 judges. But we have not heard any information of judges that even been Tanyako. But there was no judge. We did not hear anything about, we have not heard that NBA sanctioned 3 judges. Is this how Kanu's case will keep going? Is this how his case will last? Is this how his case will keep going? Just that he came out and talked. They feel this is going to silence Kanu. They can silence Kanu, but they cannot silence, Kanu's motive, or his ambition, which is Biafra. Even if you silence Kanu today, another man stronger, wiser than Kanu will come up. That's one thing they don't know. So if you actually see this case now is not just about Kanu. It's not just about Kanu. It's about people that have been marginalized. Thousands of people, millions of people that have been marginalized for so many years, that have been treated like last class citizens. So now it's not even about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You should think at the grievance, how Ndi Igbo are angry. You should think about the grievance. That is just it. Because even if you silence Kanu now, or if anything happens to Kanu, other people, that unrest will still be there in the southeast. Another person will come up. So why don't you negotiate? Why don't you solve the root cause of the agitation? That is what even Kanu's lawyer said, Aloy Ejimako. He said, why all these bullets and why taking this matter to another level? Why don't you solve the root cause of the agitation? Self-determination is not a crime. You can say you want to have your own republic. It's not a crime. Somebody said something. He said, my sister, one of the biggest problems, let me show you guys. My sister, one of the biggest problem we have in Nigeria today is this so-called United States, US. They have been the one choosing president for us because of their selfish interests. Wow. Also, according to what this person said, some people are saying that Britain has not left Nigeria alone. Or let me this is how they put it. They said that Britain is still controlling Nigeria even up to now, but their operation is in disguise. Let me know what you think about this under the comment section. This is what people are saying. Wow. So so this is what they say. A lot is going on in this country. A lot is going on in this country. That is why you see, is this the reason why election votes, people's votes, don't count? Can you imagine what is going in this country? There was this allegation that came up that Tinubu was a puppet and everything. That Tinubu is working for them, and wow. See, for me, I just feel because even Britain, despite Kanu being a British citizen, and also US, should in fact it's the duty of British or Britain to yes, it's the duty to fight for Kanu's release. It's their duty because Kanu is a British citizen, but they are silent. There's something is happening. Something is going on. I don't know if you guys understand. Something is going on, and then US clearly stated that Nigerian government did clearly stated that Nigeria violated international law, even international treaties. Why are they still calm? There are actually consequences even if anyone violates international law. Why are they still calm even up till now? You see, one of the biggest problem we have is not even about, there's a lot going on in this country. In fact, some people say that Nigeria can never be redeemed, They'll say the way, okay, let me just play a video shortly. Okay, I'll play that video towards the end. So guys, stay and get the full gist of this headline. So now some people are now tearing their passports, saying that they have watched and seen how elections are conducted in this country, that they have concluded that Nigeria can never be better. They tore their passports in front of, cameras. Now, let me tell you something, that this, that a Canadian court came out to say that APC and PDP is a terrorist organization. Why is Nigerian government, why have they not come out to say or to tell the world or to try to defend them? They are just calm, you know. And then this is the same thing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been shouting for so many years, that this foundation, Nigeria is built with the wrong foundation. They went after him. Me, I believe that Kanu is not a terrorist. Because if he's a terrorist, we will see it up to you. We will see it today that he's a terrorist. We will see everything. But Kanu is not a terrorist. But they are holding him because of one thing. And that thing is because he has been saying the truth. And some people will say, just like in my last live session, they said that Kanu is working with so many people abroad, just like Israel, and they know in fact they're getting Kanu is getting information from people all over the world, so from important sources, knows what Nigerian governments are doing. So that's why they went ahead to, arrest him. Now, let me now tell you that if Kanu was a terrorist, why wouldn't they allow his trial to go the normal way it should go? Why is there adjournment, unnecessary adjournment? Why don't you allow his trial to go the normal way it's supposed to go? Why don't you obey the law? See, Kanu's case is not a legal case. It's not a legal case. These people are playing political games with him. It's not a legal case again. Because if it's a legal case, Kanu has won long time ago. Let me tell you, if Kanu's case is a legal case, in October 2021, that was when appeal court discharged and acquitted him. And that was when Kanu won. In fact, that was the final say, saying that Kanu was not a terrorist, and then the way they adopted him from Kenya to Nigeria is illegal, meaning that his trial also is illegal, and they discharged and acquitted him. Any other thing after that day, any other arrest, just know that after they went ahead and arrested him again, just know that Kanu's case is not a legal case again. They are keeping him there for God knows the reason why they are keeping him there. So guys, you can see today, the spokesperson, Emeka Livingstone, he's among Igbo. He's saying enough is enough. They argue that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal, he's not a terrorist, but a prisoner of conscience, someone whose only crime is advocating for self-determination of his people. According to the group Igbo, they say this is no longer just an internal Nigerian issue. It has become a matter of international concern, because when a country disobeys its own courts, it violates international treaties and disregard human rights. So now that country begins to operate outside the boundaries of civilized nation. Here is where the matter becomes even more controversial. It says in August 2025, a Canadian federal court reportedly declared Nigeria's two main political parties, the All Progressive Congress and then the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, as a terrorist organization. Why? Because according to the ruling, these parties have used violence, intimidation, and electoral malpractice as a political tool. This includes the 2023, it was noted, the 2023 election that brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to power. For diaspora activists, they say this judgment confirms what many Nigerians has always suspected, that the Nigerian state itself is not just corrupt but a sponsor of terrorism, one that silences dissenters while empowering bandits, insurgency, and even state-backed militias. Now, let me now tell you that this CCIND, Igbo has now turned its attention to the United States government, specifically calling on President Donald Trump's administration to sanction Nigerian government officials involved in human rights violation and electoral malpractice, and also redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. There was a time, guys, that Donald Trump said that they will start sanctioning illegal churches. What's keeping him from sanctioning Nigerian governments that have violated Nigerians, that violated in so many ways, violated the law? What is holding him? The proscribed IPOB, imagine, and release all its detained members unconditional. This is what they are telling US or Trump's administration to do. They said we designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern for harboring terrorism-friendly leaders, the proscribed IPOB, and also release all its detained members unconditionally, and also issue travel bans, international arrest warrants, and economic restrictions on Nigerian politicians implicated in violence and corruption. And also they said that US should facilitate an internationally supervised referendum so that the indigenous people trapped in Nigeria can decide their political future. So now, for this Igbo, the logic is actually very simple. If the world can impose sanctions on countries like Iran, North Korea, or Russia for human rights abuses, why should Nigeria, a supposed democracy, be treated any differently when it commits the same violation? You see, why people are saying that US actually benefits from Nigeria. They don't want to provoke Nigeria by sanctioning them, or because of Kanu. If he's not, and people are even saying that it's because of Kanu is an Igbo man, that if he's not an Igbo man now, they'll do anything they will do to release him. You can see. So now the implication of this is actually very huge. Nigeria's Africa's most populous nation and largest economy risks being labeled internationally as a state sponsor of terrorism. That label would isolate it diplomatically, cripple its economy, and weaken its global partnership. Already this diaspora group in North America and Europe are intensifying their lobbying. And with the Kenya High Court's ruling and the Canadian Federal Court judgments, the legal groundwork is being laid for foreign governments to start taking concrete action. If the United States and Canada and also other Western allies begin to enforce sanctions, Nigerian ruling elites might find themselves barred from traveling, their foreign assets frozen, and their international credibility destroyed. Now, and also some people will come out and say that, US are actually complicit because they are quiet. Truly, there are actually consequences of those that violate international law. But why are they quiet? See, a lot of people are reacting differently. Some people they have a lot to say itself concerning what is going on. Me, I feel they should, Kanu's lawyer should, take this case to an international court. That is justice. This group IPOB has spent a lot, truly they have spent so much just to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Kanu has sacrificed. Tell me who will sacrifice just like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He doesn't even have time for his son. Imagine what, the things he's sacrificing just for Biafra. That is just it. That is just it. So now, if Nigerian government actually fear Biafran referendum, and I don't even know why they are scared, because self-determination is not a crime. Beyond sanction and politics, there is a deeper moral question. Why is Nigeria so determined to keep Mazi Nnamdi Kanu behind bars despite local or international rulings? Is it fear of the Biafran referendum, or is it obsession with suppression dissent at all costs, or is it simply a culture of impunity where government officials believe they can act above the law without consequences? Now, whatever be the reason, history has shown that no matter how long injustice lasts, it never triumphs forever. That is just it. It never triumphs forever. From South Africa to colonial India to civil rights struggles in America, every prisoner of conscience eventually becomes a symbol of freedom, just like Nelson Mandela. So guys, take a look at what Kanu's lawyer said, and I'll be right back.
When the president calm down, the reason Nnamdi Kanu have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nnamdi Kanu, because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the constitution and the law.
Well, the government's angle is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate, but they said the way he was going about it, like and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
what of the wife of the president incited people during the election? The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something, then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries, America and Europe. So you are now saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. In a country that is predicated on constitutional governance, it cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him, with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed, above board in the KPI, he wouldn't have had any reason to remove her rather.
Now, still on that ministerial list, we have 48 of them, am I right? And we have 36 states in this country, including FCT 37. So, apart from Southeast, that have only 5, every other region have more than 6, apart from Southeast. Now, check since 1999, we have been having series of presidents. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate President is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal President is from where? National Industrial Court President is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? And they are saying that the people of Southeast belongs to this country.
Are you sure Max, are you sure you're not? It's just like what I said too. Isn't it time we started to be less sentimental about this diversity?
We have to apply it now. We are saying that the only people that are qualified to hold all this position, nobody from South is qualified. On what basis?
Are you saying that there's
the chief of Naval Staff is from the Southeast? Huh? The chief of Naval Staff?
From where? I'm talking about the key position. Number 1 person, number 2 person, number 3 person, number 4 person, number 5 person. The key position, we have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. You can never see anybody from Southeast there. Now, the point we are talking about is that when I'm not even talking about, I'm in court about lopsided appointments.
Okay.
I can avail that my process because I did an intensive research in that process. File it, asking court to view whether this particular appointment, whether this particular governance is in line with Federal Character Establishment Act, an act of National Assembly that said that you should carry everybody along. Section 14 of the Constitution also said that you should carry everybody along. And they are not doing all these things. You are telling me that, yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Ohanele and they are now brought in Bianca Ojukwu, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about. Let me start with the source. In football, the people that have made Nigeria proud are the people of Southeast. In commerce, in aviation industry, name it. In academics, they are from people of Southeast. But when it comes to power, they are not qualified. And we want them to be happy. Listen, let me tell you, like today that is Monday, go to Southeast. And my annoyance is that these things are avoidable for Christ's sake. The one at Niger, the reason and the Kanu, let us start addressing this issue. This early morning, somebody sent me a clip, something they posted, that they said from, I think they said next week, the next 2 weeks, that there will be nothing like federal courts in the whole of Southeast. What do I mean by federal courts? Federal courts, National Industrial Court is a federal court. Federal High Court is a federal court. Court of Appeal is a federal court. Now, the judges that are there, most of them are not Igbos. Majority of them are not Igbos. How should you risk somebody to go and preside in the Court of Appeal over the Judicial Division, Oka Judicial Division, Enugu Judicial Division? How can you appoint somebody to go and preside in federal high courts in the southeast, national industrial court in the southeast? And you are not even thinking about all this, and the judges are not even thinking about So the point we are talking about is that when there is a problem, look for a solution. Personally, somebody like us, we are not even, I'm defending Nnamdi Kanu, one of his lawyers. So when they say so you people are not doing what you're supposed to do, the person that is calling you, don't even know him. He's using a hidden number to call you. You don't even know what they're talking about. The only thing that you want to court and you were unable to bring Nnamdi Kanu out. They're not even safe.
Okay, Maxwell, let me ask you this, because from what you're saying, I've also heard IPOB many times deny, allegations of being involved in some of the killings that happen in the southeast and some of the, the ills that we see in the society. Even the sit-at-home in question, IPOB has also claimed that he has not asked anybody to sit at home. I don't know, get my point. So the point I'm making is that from what you're saying, it would look as if what you're actually trying to say is that it's because Nnamdi is being held, that is why, the ills in the society in the southeast has escalated. Does it have anything to do with him? That is what you're saying?
Do you know why? Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB is his initiative. He established it, he organized it. Now, when you now kidnapped him or adopted him, and unlawfully, because the Supreme Court have said that he was unlawfully brought into this country, and you kept him incommunicado, everybody on his own. This one we kill, you said at IPOB. This one we maim, you said at IPOB. Everybody on his own. That's why I asked you the question, who is IPOB? The IPOB is Nnamdi Kanu. So Nnamdi Kanu, if Nnamdi Kanu is out, he will know who is who. Simon Ekpa will talk his own, Emma Powerful will talk his own, this one will talk his own, this one. Who is IPOB? That you are even talking. Simon Ekpa is in Finland. Emma Powerful, I don't know where he's operating from. Another person is operating from somewhere. Issuing threats. Just like the one somebody told me. I don't even know where that one is coming from. So the easiest way to do is the one that you know. Nnamdi Kanu. Then tell Attorney General, as he discontinue the charges against the president of Mieti Ala Kato, discontinue that of Showore, they are all terrorism. Tell them to discontinue that of Nnamdi Kanu, and allow Nnamdi Kanu to agitate. It is his right. I told you the other day. You see, that's where the problem is, really. The guarantee, that there will not be problems, even if Nnamdi Kanu is, because you're saying allow him to agitate, and he goes about it the way he used to, like, the government have actually feared. That may also create more problems, don't you think? Let me tell you, there are some things that you asked me the other day whether they are talking about condition given Nnamdi Kanu. I told you one question. I say, if you give Nnamdi Kanu condition that he feel after meeting up that condition, he will still live like a human being, so be it. But when you give him condition and you are removing that made him a human being, he will tell you no. What is that made you a human being? That thing that makes you a human being is your ability to exercise your fundamental rights. And when somebody said, now I'm going to employ you here, I will be paying you $500,000 every month, but you will not talk, you will not move out, you say, do away with your job. When somebody said, I'm going to release you, but I'll cut one of your hands, say no. The agitation for self-determination is a fundamental right. And if you people fail to understand it, I can agitate that I need the Republic of Maxwell. It is my right. Anybody can agitate. I don't even need crowd to follow me. It is when you now feel that you have gotten the necessary need the necessary qualities, then so be it. It is now left for the president, who believe in democracy, who believe in government of the people by the people, to apply your initiative. What is the initiative? Release the person. Start addressing all those issues that gave rise to this agitation. It has been there. Uwazirike was agitating during Obasanjo. A lot of people were agitating. So now that you have arrested, you come down Uwazirike that time. Nnamdi Kanu came up. Now that you have arrested Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa is there. I think this data from Ned Nwoko was telling you that even if you arrest Simon Ekpa today, another Simon Ekpa will come out. So the issue there is that address all those issues.
So for you, it's not about ministerial appointment.
No. That one. Okay, that one is a complete distraction. That one should not even come in. Okay. After turning in now, let Bianca come and address the Igbos in Enugu.
All right.
So, guys, you heard what Maxwell Okpara said, Kanu's lawyer. He said self-determination is not a crime, or demanding for referendum is not a crime. Is his legal right under international law. Now, he even said if you want to start agitating, doesn't even need crowd because it is right. I don't know why they are going about this Kanu's case as if, he's a terrorist, which I want to look at. I want to show you guys what this man said. He said, when I don't start, Nigeria is a sovereign country. USA no gets power over Niger. They can't sanction Niger because Niger gets evidence against him. So make una shut up. So now, he said Nigeria has evidence against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Is that evidence that we have not seen? You that is saying this thing, Nigerian government called Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist up to date for 4 years now, going to 5 years. There is no evidence. If you have an evidence, let us know. That there's an evidence, a credible one. Because according to what they said, there is no credible evidence. This is why the legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ruled on no case submission after the DSS witness. They ruled on what is called no case submission, meaning that our Lord, this book has been here for how many days now? They have been coming out to testify against Kanu, and then there's no credible evidence that makes Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist. No evidence that can hold water. So what other evidence? See, we're not talking about if you like Kanu or not. We are not interested if you like Ndi Igbo or if you like Kanu or not. No. What we are saying is that this man did not do anything. Nobody cares if you like Kanu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or not. But what we are pointing out is that whether Kanu is a Yoruba man or an Igbo man or Hausa man, we are saying that this man did not do anything. If Kanu has done anything, let us know and let's see. Show us where Kanu is directly commanding for violence, or show us the weapon of Kanu. What is terrorism, or what can you describe a terrorist? You're saying, okay, what about these terrorists, this unknown government that carry gun up and down? Why have they not gone against him? Why is there no evidence that these people have been buying people? Is there no evidence? So why are they not going against him? Why are they not going against these bandits? Why are they going against Kanu? So you can see. So the truth is that Kanu, there's no evidence that makes him a terrorist. How can you describe a terrorist? A terrorist moves with arms, weapons, they have it. The only thing they showed that Kanu has was a microphone. You can't tell me otherwise. Kanu is not a terrorist. And if he's a terrorist, why did they go through back doors? Why did they subject him to, the extradition, the normal extradition process? And two, you heard the lawyer say that when they bundled him in Kenya, they took him to an unknown location in Nairobi, Kenya. They were supposed to take him to an immigration. If he truly is a criminal, they would have supposed to take him to an immigration office because he's a foreigner. So why did they keep him in an unknown location and kept him there for 8 days and tortured him before they bundled him illegally? Took him to, that's what they even did. Actually violated the rules in Kenya airports. Bonded him and to a private jet and flew him to Nigeria. An illegal act. And you're here saying Nigeria no get evidence. Nigeria get evidence against. Please, there's no evidence that Kanu is a terrorist. If there's evidence, I want to know that evidence. So guys, I've come to the end of this live section. Hit the subscribe button, like and share this video. So guys, like I said, hit the subscribe button too, so that you cannot miss out on, so that you won't miss out on any breaking news. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.